Hello, I'm back with the analysis of stanza 2. So let's get down to it. It came one day at the dead of night, destroying the cement walls and carried away the fowls, the cooking pots and the ladles. The sea eats the land at home. So once more, we'll be looking at, as you can see, the important words and phrases and how they have an effect on the reader in this stanza. So the first word that I've not highlighted it here actually, but you would see in my notes on the side here, the word "it came one day." Now this word "one day" is important because it kind of shows us, look, not like it is not the invasion of the sea in this town is not something that happens just one day. This happens many, many, many days. And one of those days, the sea came at the dead of night. So it gives us an idea of how often the sea comes into the land in this town. So the visual image of the sea coming into the land, especially at the dead of night, is significant here because basically we get the idea, look, the situation in this town is bad, and it became really bad one day when the sea came in at the time we least expected it, when all of us were sleeping at the dead of night. So it just shows us, look, the sea cannot be trusted. It annoys us at all times, but especially it annoys us when it comes at the time we least expect it to. So it shows us how unpredictable the sea is, and how dangerous it can be, because you don't want the sea coming into your house when you're fast asleep. So I've said these visual images suggest the sea's actions have happened many a time. It has even come at the darkest time of the night. And it has come to, it's important that it says, okay, yes, it destroys the cement walls and it takes away the fowls. So, this idea of something that comes in to take away the fowls gives the idea of um, um, basically a being that is, it has a thieving nature. He wants to steal something. This being is basically hungry. We don't know, but it came here to take away the fowls like a thief. So it's compared to a thief that comes in the night when you least expect it to carry away the fowls. So it's not to be trusted. It comes when you least expect it, and it wants to take things from their homes. So I've said, when we combine this idea of something that comes late at night when you least expect it with the word eats, it creates an image of a being that is hungry and cannot be trusted. The next phrase or word that I picked up on is the word destroying, but when it's combined with destroying cement walls, it kind of gives you an idea of, it gives you a visual image of basically how powerful the sea is. It reinforces the idea that the sea is pretty powerful for water to break down a cement wall. So it kind of hints, we're moving from, in the first stanza, a being that just came to take away the firewood and then send it back in the night like a playful child, to a more dangerous sort of a being which comes and destroys cement walls. So it's something to be wary of. The word carried away is significant because we get an idea of a person carrying away something. So that personification comes in through the kinesthetic imagery. Kinesthetic imagery, remember, is it gives a feeling of what a bodily movement is like, what a bodily movement felt like. So it can be something to do with touch, temperature, or feelings. So see, here we have actual movement, what a movement felt like. So it carried away the fowls. Um, the mention of the fowls is also important here because it gives us an important aspect of the village's livelihood. Because why mention the fowls? Now, say, for example, if this was a poem written in USA, maybe the poet might mention it destroyed the cars and took the cars away into the sea. So there we get an idea that, cars, or I don't know, TVs, if the TVs were carried away, were important aspects of that town's lifestyle. But here we see that, okay, these are probably more simpler folk who rely on these sort of animals for their livelihood. So that's confirmed again by the cooking pots and the ladles. Also, we have the repetition at the end of this stanza. Sorry, no, let me go back, rewind. What I meant to say is the use of the punctuation mark, the semicolon here is important. It gives an idea that this sort of action, it repeats the idea that this is something that is happening over and over again in this village. So this is very much a fact of life. It is something that is not a full stop. It doesn't come one day and then stop. No, it's a semicolon. This action goes on and on and on. So this is very much a fact of life in this community, and there's no end in sight. Before we go on, I also want to comment on the. I've just noticed an absence of color, which we usually associate with the sea. Usually, when we talk about poems that have to do with the sea, we think about the blues and of the horizon, or the golds and the peaches of sunset. But here, you just look at the colors mentioned. We have the images created focus on a darkness. There's the dead of night, the gray of the cement walls, basically pretty much an absence of color. So here we have that very absence of color just tells us how dark and not literally, how figuratively dark the sea is. It's something to be feared. So we'll stop there, and we'll get back to stanza 3 in the next video. See you soon.